everybody, it's Chad with Nobody Else's Auto. We are still in Minden, Nebraska at Harold Warp's Pioneer Village, bringing you some more of the awesome cars that are here. Like if you've caught any of the rest of these videos, 350 cars. We're in a building right now that is pretty much all GM stuff. Now, the beauty of this collection is it was started in the late 40s, early 50s. A lot of the cars that we consider old today, 30s, 40s, 50s, even some of the 60s stuff, was gathered up when they were essentially used cars and put in this collection. And when a lot of these cars were bought, they weren't necessarily all that old, but they knew they needed to preserve them. They knew it was part of the chronological order of history, which is the entire concept behind this museum, is everything in chronological order. Whether it's a Buick or a toaster, it's in chronological order in this museum. Obviously, we're focusing on the cars. We've brought you a few other videos, some quick videos of some of the other things they have here, but we want to see cars. That's why we're here. That's why we hang out together. So that's what we're going to show you. So we're going to catch some of the cars in this building. Like I said, I can shoot videos for a week and still not catch all the cars here. So we're going to get you some quick overviews. If you're anywhere remotely near, or even if you're not near Minden, Nebraska, at any point in time, you have got to check this collection out. You've got to put it on your list. You've got to be here. You've got to check this out. So let's take a look at a few of the vehicles in this building. This is GM stuff. Some stuff back into the 20s, getting up into the 50s. So we'll give you kind of a quick overview. There's no way we can get through all the buildings and all the cars, so we will catch part of them, talk about a few of them a little bit here and there, and give you a quick overview. Starting off with this 1948 Buick Super two-door sedanette. Now, I said it's a 48. We look at the car next to it, it looks pretty similar. Quick note. Obviously, if you've been hanging out with me, you know I grew up on Buicks. My dad did Buicks, I cut my teeth on Buicks. We look at the front of this hood badge. This has a plastic hood badge on this insert. That's 48. That one had an enamel type hood badge. That's 47. So although these cars look essentially identical on the front, they basically are. That hood badge is a dead giveaway on the difference between the 47 and the 48. So this two-tone green car here happens to be a 1948 Buick Super, two-door sedanette. Being a two-door sedanette, being a Super, we know it's a 50 series car. This would have been a 56S. This car, just like a lot of the other cars we've seen in some of the videos and we're going to continue to see, has scuffs, scratches, dings, because it was parked in here when it was an old car. It has black wall tires. It doesn't have fancy wide whites on it. The trim ring's missing, because that's how this car was found. It's got a Fulton visor on it. That's what it had on it when they got it. So that's how it's in here. Untouched, original, unmolested. That is what is so great about this collection. Almost everything in here is that way. That's why this collection is so epic, and that is why it is a must-see for any gearhead. So, really cool 48 Super. Next to that, a 47 Roadmaster, like we talked about. It's got the different hood badge insert, so this is a 47, and it is a Roadmaster, so it's a Model 76S, because we know the Roadmaster is the 70 series car. So, a couple of really great Buicks there. And we'll kind of bounce around a little bit. We'll try to catch a little bit of everything. There's just so much here, we can't do it all. Little 63 Olds F85. 59 Oldsmobile. Super 88. Something that was kind of cool about this car was the way this 59 Olds was designed. It started with the rocket on the front fender and went all the way back to the tail fin. And not all cars were done this way, but you could get this two-tone paint where it started at the rocket and finished out at the tail fin, and made a really great two-tone combination with this green and white on this particular car. So, and there again, another example. It's got a couple of whammos in the hood. Why? Because it was a used car when they found it and put it in this collection, and it has been preserved in that way. So I know we're gonna skip some things. There's just too much here to catch them all. We're looking at some 41 Buicks here. They've got quite a selection of 41s, a Roadmaster, a Super, and a Special Convertible. So we're gonna take a slow walk, but we'll talk about a few of these things. There's just no way to cover them all. Interesting side note on this car, 1941 Special Convertible. I was doing a little research on some of the cars in some of the books that they have available. This is 1941 Buick Special Convertible. Appears to have been repainted at some point in its life. Obviously, somebody added a Dodge hood ornament to it. That is definitely not a Buick hood ornament. It's off of a Dodge that somebody added to it. But when they bought this car in the 50s for this collection, you've got to remember, this is a 41. They bought it in the mid-50s, I believe, if I remember correctly from what I read. So this was a 15-year-old used car. They bought this car in this condition, just the way we see it here, for $25. They've got it documented, and it's in one of the books. They paid $25 for that car when they added it to the collection, which is insane today to think of. But they were used cars. That's what they were. But that's what's so great about them today, because we can't find these collections. These cars don't exist in this condition anymore. An old convertible like that was restored years ago, and the originality is gone. Even though this one's been painted, you know, it's still the chrome, the trim, the interior is probably original. Super cool piece. So there's just so much history here, so much cool stuff. You know, the 39 Buicks with the super recognizable nose on the 39s with a split grille. You know, here's a big Cadillac Flower Car and a LaSalle hearse. You know, some professional cars that, you know, were added to the collection years ago. And once again, you know, this Flower Car is rusty. We can see rust right here on the front fenders. But that's how the car was found. These Flower Cars, you know, very, very, very few of these were ever made. This car happens to be a 52, and it was purchased new in Chicago and used until 74 when it was moved here. So it, you know, these cars were used. That's all they were. They were transportation. They were used up, and if they were different, unique, they were added to this collection and haven't been touched. Now, obviously, you know, the cars aren't roadworthy at this point, because like this 41 Buick Convertible we just talked about, it's been sitting in here for almost 70 years. However, they've been inside, dry, out of the weather, and preserved. So yeah, the fuel systems, the brakes, things like that would be shot on any of these, but they're not going anywhere. They're in the collection. It's just so great to see them in this preserved state. So like I said, there's just too much here to catch them all, but we're going to catch a few more. We'll do a little bit of looking as we go through here. You can see the stuff in the background as we walk by. There's just no way to stop and talk about them all. That's why you've got to be here. You've got to check this collection out. You have to see this for yourself. There's no other way to comprehend it. There's too much stuff here. You know, more old Buicks, more old Cadillacs, they're everywhere. And it's just so great to see them in the preserved states that they're in. So that's why I just can't stress enough, you've got to come here. Like this 40 Cadillac, for instance, beautiful car. And you know, it was parked in here years ago. It's been preserved. It's still got the side mount covers on it. Really neat piece. One more we'll talk about on this video. We've got a 24 Cadillac here. Really cool grill badge on it. And really neat old car. We can still see the welds in the fenders where they fixed them years ago when they cracked. But what makes this unique is something that happened a lot back in the day. Back in the day, especially when you got into the Depression, these cars from the 20s were old cars. They were used up cars. But a lot of people, one, didn't have money in the Depression, and two, they still had needs that had to be met. And they may have been able to get a cheap car, but they may have needed a truck. And that's what happened to this one. Somebody made a truck bed for the back of this Cadillac. We can see where they cut it off, cut it right in there. We can see where they filled the gap for between the cargo bed they built for it and the fenders. And that's what they did back in the day, because it's what had to be done. You know, it wasn't an option. These big cars, especially the bigger cars, Cadillacs, Packards, things like that, they were heavy duty cars. They could be modified to hold, and they could be modified for uses like this, and they were big enough and heavy enough to hold the weight and do the job. So in today's world, yeah, it's crazy to think about, but that's what's great about this collection. Nobody restored this car. Nobody tried to take it back to the way it was. And you know, a purist would say that's sacrilege. The car needs to be restored back to its former glory. That's not the point of this collection. The point of this collection is to tell the story of man and its progress. And these modifications to these cars back in the day were part of progress. People did what they had to do. And that's how things like this happen. You know, it's like I said, it's crazy to think about it in today's collector car world that somebody would do something to a 24 Cadillac. In the Depression, when you needed to haul some stuff and you needed to make it work, you made it work. That's what our ancestors did, and that's what made this country so great. You figured it out and you made it happen. That's why this collection is so awesome, is it preserves that history, it tells that story, and it does it in a chronological order. So That's why I love this collection. That's why you've got to be here. You've got to see it for yourself. There's no other way to comprehend it. You just saw the stuff we walked by that we didn't even have time to take a look at in the background as we're filming. And we're just into the first actual car building. The first building we shot like 3 cars videos in has all kinds of stuff in it. There's like 3 or 4 buildings just like this that we need to shoot video in that is just cars. So we're just getting started. There's just so much here that no way to comprehend it unless you come check it out for yourself. So as always, thanks for being here. If you're on Facebook, please like the page, tell your friends, share it with them, have them come over and join us. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, check out my other car videos, check out the other videos from Pioneer Village here in Minden, Nebraska. And by all means, you've got to be here. You've got to get here and check it out. So thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your evening to hang out with me. And super glad you're here, having a lot of fun. And thanks for watching with us. We'll see you on the next episode.